Now, some of you may remember, what was it, a few days ago, or at the time of this live stream, Muda decided to delete his Twitter. Now he has his own reasons for doing this. He claims that he was tired of seeing the racism of Indian people on Twitter and just decided to delete it so that way he can just focus on work and YouTube. Um, Honestly, I I don't know what making such a big show of it would help. Me personally, if I was in that position, I would keep the account active, but just not use it. Sort of like PewDiePie, for example. Like he technically has a Twitter, he just it's not active, right? And plus too, like I'm sure he still has to use Twitter, for like YouTube related stuff still, right? So I don't know. It would help more so just to like be quiet about it, you know. Um, and of course, as soon as Muda shows any weakness, as soon as like there's blood in the water, all the fucking piranhas and leeches and sharks come around to start, picking at what they think is the corpse. And so here's like Glink. What? How the fuck you pronounce this idiot's name? A couple weeks ago, he made a video on why you should never trust a YouTuber, and look at that Lightwave story time video. Now, guys, if you're not familiar with Lightwave, oh my god! So Lightwave was a live event that Glink was doing, and it sucked. It absolutely sucked. It was a train wreck, and it was funny to watch. Absolutely fucking funny to watch. Okay, and there's no denying that. So we have, it's been like roughly like 2 years now.
It seems like the most.
Yeah, about 2 years now since it happened. We actually covered it here on uh we covered it here on Nerdy Live, and then we covered it over on Dave's channel when I was still his producer. But of course, Nick probably has like the most popular video on the subject on his second channel. Probably not the most popular. I think did Muda make a video on it? I'll have to double check. But anyway, here is Nick's highlight of the
It
situation.
seems like the most fitting
Hour and 10
description of a
minutes
drug
long,
is
so
a substance that
luckily, boys
alters
and
your
girls,
state of mind.
make sure you refill that drink, get a snack if you want, because we're in this for the long haul.
For better or worse, whatever it is, it alters your brain chemistry. Now, porn is not a substance, of course. It's not something you ingest, just like anything you watch on TV is not something you ingest, but the physical effects on your body and on your mind are pretty much.
Yeah, by the way, he's one of these guys who's like he makes taking drugs uncool, right? Like I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I want to try every drug that's out there, right? I want to be that guy who's like tried every drug, like Pokemon. You gotta try them all, right? But like listening to him talk about drugs makes drugs so uncool. Like what the Dare program should have done is they should have just had like that one guy who took mushrooms and like supposedly it changed his entire life. And you just have him talk to a group of kids and bam, there you go. There you go. No one would have done drugs. You see, instead of talking about how dangerous drugs are, you need to have that guy who's like, yeah, like, man, like what it does, man, is like it opens up your mind and like opens you to new experiences, and it changes you as a person, man. I guarantee you that not a single kid in that group would have touched drugs after that, because they would have made drugs so much uncool. So uncool to do drugs.
Indistinguishable from a drug, and in my opinion, more invasive and more accessible, and therefore more potentially dangerous and addictive.
Okay, what did you do? What drug? What dose? Like, talk to me about this. I'm curious now.
Okay, so I've done shrooms at a relatively low dose, like about 1.5 to 2.5 grams. There is something interesting about this theory that the way humans evolved was through the use of these mushrooms and similar substances, and that they formed this, not instead of a monogamous hierarchical structure of relationships.
You see, this makes drugs sound so uncool. So uncool. I don't want to ever take drugs again now because of this. Like, I want to live like that, oh God, what was that move? Like, straight edge. I want to live that straight edge lifestyle now. Because Jesus fucking Christ. It's fucking lame. Fucking lame ass motherfucker telling me about how humans wouldn't have evolved today if we didn't take mushrooms. So like, mushrooms are actually like really good for us, man. Like, okay, there's one thing where it's like you believe that, right? It's another stupid ass thing if you say it. Like, whenever like a comedian, for example, says that like, yeah, like comedy is like the last bastion of like free speech, man. Like, whenever I hear them say it, I want to take their microphone. I go, shut the fuck up. I want to tell them to shut the fuck up because you're fucking stupid. You should be fucking silenced, right? Now, I personally believe that, jokes is like the ultimate expression of free speech, right? But whenever you hear like some old ass fucking comedians say that shit, you want to like just fucking like punch them.
Orgiastic one. And why I think that's interesting is because if you're around people that do these things, or you've done them, or you kind of know about the aesthetic of them, there is this sort of this openness and this experience of openness with other people that would lend itself. And there's this sexual arousal is
AKA he's admitting he's done mushroom orgies.
Also part of the effect it has. And
Right.
it's like,
Without getting too specific, are you pro orgy?
it's more difficult to navigate a social situation when you're, when you're tripping, basically. But I've managed, and I've had some difficulty, but I've managed to always come at the end of the trip smiling, happy, appreciating
Oh, dude, after an orgy, yeah, I bet you're smiling.
life, calling and hugging the people I love. And I've seen it allow my personal relationships with people to flourish, and I've just stopped giving a fuck about
This was the live event, by the way. This was the best part. This was the best part about it. This was the live event. It was just like you hired some fucking Craigslist DJ to fucking do this. And there's like that one, like, hi, I'm a friend of him, and he said I should come.
shit that I thought mattered when it came to like caring about what other people think and worrying about status and ego. And of course, me being here is an expression of ego. But there was a time where
No one fucking showed up to this, man.
I was like,
I think he did this during VidCon, if I'm remembering correctly. He did this during VidCon. So, like, no fucking YouTubers showed up to this shit, man.
why am I even trying to convince people on Twitch or YouTube or whatever of all this shit? But it's like, I need an ego to survive, to have a purpose in the world. I think it's okay to have an ego. And I've come to terms with that. But I also want to share some of the experiences, the knowledge that I think has been imparted to me from these experiences. And I think it's not just about me and what I have to say. It's about this community of people who've seen things and experienced things this way.
Holy shit, yeah, we're getting into it now. Holy shit. Lame ass motherfucker.
Hello to all 122 of you. We officially have passed the viewers for Lightwave, but
Oh yeah, he was live streaming this. I forget that detail. He was live streaming a Lightwave event.
before we're getting too ahead of ourselves, YouTube events in general are one of the most difficult things to pull off. VidCon yearly is most of the time the one that you'll hear the most YouTubers and the most community members attend. There are these small debate events that you'll see that usually have poor mic setup. There are these debate panels that are held in bowling alleys by Ethan Ralph. But historically, when people have tried to throw a convention on a whim near the time that people spend at VidCon, well, those usually don't work very well. July 16th. Do you guys remember July 16th? That's when FouseyTube had a manic episode.
Yeah. Where you got the clip of him screaming at Keem. Oh, classic YouTube right there. Classic fucking YouTube. Jesus.
Spent his life savings on a convention that nobody attended. If you remember TanaCon, Tana was upset that she wasn't a premier creator at the venue during VidCon, so she launched her own convention, invited a ton of fans, far more than the building can house, and then people were getting outrageous sunburns outside, waiting in line to enter the building for the ball pit, and all of these things that just did not function. That's because doing any sort of convention takes time. It takes money. It takes preparation. It takes a good date. There's a million different things that can make one of these good, bad, in between. And we will address certain faults that our good friend Glink here has graciously shown us what not to do for YouTube conventions. Now, if you guys don't know Glink, Glink is in my opinion, seems like a right-wing YouTuber who makes a lot of vlogs about like LA and the struggles living there and stuff like that. He makes some pretty cool content. He debates Destiny a few times, gets absolutely floored in those conversations. But
oh yeah, no duh. If you're debating someone's like, yo, man, like mushrooms, like open your mind, man. Like winning a debate against that type of dude, it's easy, so easy.
Glink is he's leading the culture war right now. He the first actually. Can we take a look at Glink's profile? I want to show you how he presents himself. Okay, let me get a. We're gonna get to the Mr. Girl stuff. Don't get ahead of yourselves, chat. Let's see how is Glink the YouTuber presenting who he is right now. If I were to go check his Twitter account, let's see what I would. Okay, Glink's profile says he's a visionary. That's our first indication that something's.
Whenever a YouTuber calls himself a visionary, that's like red flag number one right there. Red flag number one. Okay, like let's get off the high horse here, buddy. You know, we're just fucking YouTubers. I don't know what to tell you. Buddy. you make videos on the internet and people like them. You know, there's something grandiose about that.
A little bit off. That's our first. Okay, all right. So that's our first little warning. Now, I was pretty skeptical of Glink. I know plenty of people who hold the position of being anti-pornography. I'm sure some of you in chat are anti-pornography. I'm personally not, but if you are, that's perfectly fine with me. Welcome. Have a great time. But Glink was arguing a debate about how pornography rots your mind, okay? It affects the chemicals in your brain.
Some would say brain rot, you know?
And I thought, okay, that's a fair argument you're making. But you take like LSD, do mushrooms, and trip on acid. So
again, totally different, man. Totally, it affects your brain in a positive way. I'm sure that's how Glink sees it, right?
Realistically, what leg do you have to stand on in that argument? Well, apparently, in the time since that conversation, Glink has just been like on a psychedelic rampage, and his brain has turned to paste. I don't really know another way to explain it. Something is he opened up his mind. We're gonna talk exactly how Glink has supposedly opened up his mind. His third eye is widened, and now he sees the truth, chat. So let's start taking a look at. I want you to experience this the way I experience it. So we're gonna start from the top, okay? We're gonna go all the way down, and you're gonna take the journey with me through this beautiful new event. So this is where I got my first.
Oh wait, does he show the trailer here? Does he show the Oh, yep, he does.
First
Sweet.
indication. There's a post here from the Destiny subreddit, as Destiny was
Oh yeah, because Glink and Destiny were supposed to have like a live debate here.
supposed to attend this event last night and actually backed out of it. So he never got an opportunity
Destiny was like, no one's gonna show up to this fucking thing. I'm fucking bailing out.
to speak at this event. And I didn't know what this event was, but I did end up seeing this screenshot, and apparently nobody shows up. So Glink created this brand new convention. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should just watch the trailer first. I think that's actually a good place to start, because I don't think I actually covered the trailer on my timeline. So he creates this whole brand new convention, and I guess intentionally he does this in Dallas, Texas, while all the YouTubers are at VidCon. That's probably that's your first indicator that something is actually seriously fucking wrong here. Is that this trailer that you're about to watch is for an event that's running simultaneously with VidCon, while all the creators who could possibly fucking attend this are in California. Glink is so self-absorbed and egotistical that he thought they would not go to VidCon on 3 weeks' notice. These people had their planes booked and their hotels booked. He's so egotistical and self-absorbed that he just assumed everyone would go to fucking Texas randomly. All right, let's take a look at this.
There is a revolution upon us.
There is a revolution upon us.
An unseen movement of
No sellouts here.
artists, creators, and engineers brewing in the shadows, the far corners of the internet. On their own, these individuals are creating great content. But
Justin Wang, notoriously someone
Was at VidCon.
who's at VidCon, is featured in the trailer. Obviously, Justin Wang does not attend this event.
together, these beacons of light can form a wave, and they will blossom into something
They will blossom into something beautiful. Like, did he take his microdose of mushrooms before then? Bro, what's with people in this like online space who interact with drama, who take supposedly like JT guys, we just take like small doses of mushrooms and like it doesn't affect us at all. Fucking schizos. Like what was that Asian chick's name? The one who was involved with the Bab stuff. Why am I forgetting her name now? Fuck. Okay. Well, her and fucking Glink need to like team up to microdose together so that way they can fucking become insufferable together. Jesus fucking Christ.
beautiful, something that can be
These beacons of light can form a wave, chat. These beacons of fucking light can form a wave.
beacons of light can form a wave, and they will blossom into something beautiful, something that can
Dude, he wrote this stuff down and was like, I'm like a poet right now. That's what Glink was probably fucking thinking filming this.
be shown to the world. If only it had a stage. Lightwave is that stage.
Guys.
And like he just takes fucking footage of like Woodstock wannabe events, so that way, like, look, this is what Lightwave is gonna be. And then when you look at like the actual fucking images of Lightwave, and it's terrible. It's fucking terrible, right? Anyway, okay, we get the picture, right? We kind of get the picture. That was a terrible ass fucking event that should have never happened, right? And we have his call-in with in after hours, because this is can you believe it? This is when this is when Augie was still making content. Can you believe it, guys? Can you believe Augie used to make fucking content? We miss it, man. We miss the Augie content, that's for sure. but yeah, it was an absolutely absolutely insane thing. Oh, did he not? I am on the. I saved the wrong link. Here we go. Okay, I'm just gonna look it up real quick. Augie RFC Glink should pop up. Should pop up. Not what I wanted, but a Bo Black's clip's always funny. Again, not what I wanted. Okay, YouTube, please. Would you work? I would love it if you worked, YouTube. Here we go. Here we go. For some reason, he just has it on. Okay, the call is
Turn on your
on
camera.
Glink's
How do I
second
sound? Do I sound good?
You sound all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, hold on. I'm turning on the video. Wait,
Okay.
It's just gonna be
how do I
like
do
porn.
this? No, it's not going to be porn.
Oh yeah, this is when
I mean,
Tom was briefly
maybe,
a
but
host for
not
RFC.
intentionally.
After
It's gonna be homosexual only.
Damn, nice
Okay,
angle,
okay.
dude.
Right.
All right,
This is a great angle.
we've got Glink on the show. Did you watch? Okay, let me ask you first of all. Did you watch last week's episode of RFC? It's totally fine if you didn't. I'll catch you up.
I'm not all caught up on
You're not
on the
all caught up.
RFC, no.
So there's been a lot of like questions and rumors and circulations around your Lightwave event that you hosted. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. It was right after VidCon. And
it was during VidCon.
so, a lot of us,
I think Augie's from Texas, right? So like, if he was interested, maybe he could have made it, right? But like, this is just terrible planning on Glink's part, right? Like, I'm sure if you had given them a heads up, some of the YouTubers would have been like, you know what? Yeah, I'll go to your event, right? But he's just kind of announced it. And everyone was like, wait, what?
a lot of people in the chat were like, yo, you guys should get Glink on. I believe Tom reached out to you and then you reached out to me and we brought you on the show here to talk about Lightwave because, even you yourself acknowledged that there's tons of confusion about the event. Why it was marketed the way that it was, what happened to some of the guests, how, it ended up happening and stuff like this. Like, what was the purpose for it? There's a lot of confusion around it. So I just wanted to go over that. So tell us what your goal was with Lightwave.
My goal with Lightwave, the goal is not something that was so simple. I think at one point, the best way I described it was it's a meeting point for the engineers and artists of our time.
You see this fucking pretentious bullshit right here. This is why I can't. It's a meeting place for the artists and engineers of our time, dude. Okay, you know what? To give him some credit. Okay, we haven't watched the Glink content in recent years. Maybe he's mellowed out since then. Maybe he's not a pretentious bullshitter anymore. But this stuff right here makes him sound so annoying to me, right? Like what he's basically doing here is he's just being like an off-brand like Joe Rogan who has none of the talent.
And that is even in itself kind of vague. Really what it was for is to make new connections that are not limited by the limitations of internet spaces, of Twitter, of YouTube, of Discord, where sure, you can meet people, you can have an audience, you can debate people, whatever, you can meet other creators even, but it sort of always feels like you're going through a filter when you do. It feels like you're in this bubble, whether it's due to an algorithm or just whatever your community of friends is. You're kind of in a certain bubble of the internet. And it's like, you and I can name several creators that are big deals to us that have large followings,
Right.
that some average person on the street would have never even heard of. At this event, there was plenty of people who didn't even know who Louis Rossmann was, and yet there was plenty of people who showed up specifically for Curtis Yarvin. And then outside of those people, like nobody knew who Curtis Yarvin was.
Oh boy, this is Buddha. Muda showed up in the call. Oh, Muda was gonna be very important to this story. Apparently, let's watch, shall we?
So the whole point was to bring together communities and individuals, both the creators and some of their audiences, to a place where their ideas can be shared in an open way, where they can just meet people from different perspectives who also have followings. It's just sort of a place where the creatives can share in what they're doing without like a corporate structure to it.
Okay, so without like the limitations of like Discord and Twitter's like terms of service, I would assume, right?
Jesus Christ, Muda. Why do you always join these calls with like the shittiest like surroundings possible on your fucking phone? Fix that, Muda. You still do it. You still do that to this day. You did that on lolcow. It's annoying. You know what? Glink was right about you.
Right.
Sure, terms of service, but even think about a physical space and where that physical space is. In Anaheim versus Austin, there's a big difference. For example, something I was comparing it to is VidCon, obviously not in terms of the scope or like the attendance or even how it's structured, but in terms of VidCon is explicitly for the purpose of bringing together online creators.
When you fill out this idea, right? It sounds okay on paper. Basically, what he wants is like he wants a place where like people can meet up and have civil discussions on the current goings-ons, right? But also too, it kind of sounds like he wants like a place where like a bunch of like internet celebrities can do mushrooms. It's what it also sounds like. I'm not gonna lie.
But what started out as a YouTube kind of centric convention is now like this TikTok, pay $200 for a ticket for like exclusive access to the second floor where you meet all these other like pretentious creators you've never heard of. I don't know. It feels to me like very networky and very, it feels like Nickelodeon or like KidsCon.
Wouldn't the point of coming to this also be to network with the engineers and artists of our time?
Oh, sure, for sure. But not in a way that's like, you're not going there explicitly, because it's a place to meet TikTokers or it's even a place to meet YouTubers. You're just going because, okay, if you're somebody who is into Right to Repair or Louis Rossman, for example, and you watch him, it might
be just joining the call, instantly leaving.
Might be interesting to hear Louis Rossman share his perspective with somebody else on stage, somebody else with a following that is maybe in a related community or something that could be related. I think Right to Repair, like as a concept, does translate to a lot of tech-oriented communities, for example.
Okay, so we have that here. Now, a lot of people were, confused about like the marketing of the event. They were like, you mentioned there's something about bringing back like classic Rome or like sort of like the, that type of room there. And so some people were like confused. They're like, wait, is this a convention for YouTubers to hang out, or what kind of like big ideas are we discussing here? I guess like, I don't know.
Well, those are all seen or heard on the panels that we did. I don't think there's anything that radical even discussed. I think the most radical thing was probably Curtis Yarvin's whole political philosophy of monarchism, and nobody really even agreed with him on stage about it, but it's interesting to hear somebody advocate for that in a modern sense. So I think Yarvin is interesting for that reason, but I don't think I agree with it.
Okay. Now,
it was just cool to see Rossman and
that didn't really answer the question, I feel. That really didn't answer the question. So yeah, man, like we had like this deep discussion about monarchism in like the modern day. Okay, but like who is this event for? That's the thing, right? Because like with the trailer, it kind of market it as like a alternative sort of to VidCon, but like other than you, there was no really other like internet celebrity there other than like what seemed like some philosophy dudes who might have a YouTube channel on the side, and
like Curtis Yarvin, this crypto guy, and like also I am a fan of Matt Tabor's work with Create Unknown, so personally it was cool having him on for every panel. and I thought he was a great moderator. And he's someone who's like from the YouTuber community. Like he's someone that you guys have all, probably interacted with before. He's had plenty of our mutual friends and creators on his podcast.
Right.
So like the whole, it's trying to bring together people from different communities who maybe just value some basic things like free expression. I would say free speech, but that's kind of cringe and have like a sort of political connotation. But I just mean free expression.
I mean, free expression. I would argue that sounds cringier, but that's just me. Yo, it's not necessarily about like free speech, man. It's about like freedom of expression, right? I imagine like a 60s hippie saying that,
Expression of any kind, whether it's through communication or art or how we express ourselves online. Like, I think we all agree that there's a value to that being allowed.
Sure, yeah.
So I would say, but I'm also not trying to like shove an agenda. So like I mentioned that as like a value that I think the event promotes, but I'm not
I gotta ask you this though, because there was like a lot of confusion about some of the guests, right? You'd mentioned that Boogie was going to be there and Destiny and people that were more YouTube centric.
Oh God, imagine if Boogie. Oh my God, imagine if Boogie showed up with his shaman motherfucker. Oh, that would have been hilarious. Imagine Boogie talking with Glink about like, yeah, man, like mushrooms like really opened me up, and like imagine like on stage Boogie just goes into a spiel about how his mom and dad abused him for like the 50th time, and Glink's just like, yeah, man, yeah. Yo, Boogie, okay, Boogie, I need you and Glink to start a side podcast, okay? You can say it's a spinoff of LolCow. I need you and Glink to start a podcast, and all you do is talk about mushrooms on there. That would be amazing, okay? I see it. Easy 100 episodes out of that. Let's go.
Trick, right? And Boogie ended up putting up a tweet saying that he had never heard of it, and Destiny said, well, it seemed like there was some contention as to why Destiny didn't show up. Destiny, I believe, also claimed you didn't hear about it, but then told you that something personal came up. What was the deal with some of these guests that were more YouTube-centric that didn't appear there?
Okay. Boogie was never invited. That was a joke. I thought that was obvious. The trailer, people totally don't understand the trailer, and that's fine because it actually does more marketing than...
You see, like, if I make the trailer confusing, people talk about the trailer. Therefore, they talk about Lightwave. Therefore, it's marketing. It's genius. But like, imagine, if you will, right? I have a product or an event. Like, let's call it the peanut butter and jelly event, right? But instead of showing peanut butter and jelly in the trailer, I show peanut butter and chocolate, right? Okay, I know this is dumb bullshit, but like, hear me out. And people are like, wait, this is supposed to be a trailer about peanut butter and jelly. Why is it peanut butter and chocolate, right? And the guy who makes the trailer goes, yeah, you're talking about it. Therefore, it succeeded. Right? Like, I get it. I get the whole like no publicity is bad publicity thing. But like, when you're trying to like market your event as like a high intellectual like alternative to VidCon, and then you're just fucking like confusing everyone with the marketing, you're not succeeding in my eyes. I'm sorry to say that, buddy.
People totally understanding it, but the trailer
so you wanted
is a
the trailer
hype
to be
video.
confusing to build up some sort of like curiosity around the event.
It's a hype video. The trailer is
like,
literally
even if it's like a hype video, you're running this like convention where people are supposed to come have these thought-provoking debates. So it's like, is it supposed to be like a joke, or is it supposed to be like, performance art, or like an actual convention? Because at that point, it's like we're kind of deviating away from the.
Glink had a 1,000 different fucking ideas that he wanted Lightwave to be, and he tried to execute them all at once, and it failed. That's what happened.
Serious,
Oh, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be totally serious. That's the thing. That's why I went on stage and had a PowerPoint with watermark PNGs on it, because it's like not. I was trying to actually. If I was a bit if I was a bit more charismatic, it would have been 2070 Paradigm Shift V2, because I was trying to just kind of keep it lighthearted, but also somewhat like, I'm not lying. When I say there's a reason that, we need a public forum, or why I'm hosting this for that purpose, I do mean that, but it's, it's not meant to take myself so seriously, or like this event is like,
But wait, okay, you're not supposed to take yourself seriously, but you're also supposed to have deep philosophical discussions about the world around us, how drugs affect that, and how we can like better ourselves with it. I'm sorry, what? Like, you see, this is the thing, Glick, is that you were trying to be 1,000 different things at once. Yeah, like imagine if like I'm a video game developer, like, yeah, it's gonna be like 1 part RPG, 1 part crafting system, 1 part racing game, it's gonna be 1 part platformer, it's gonna be also like 1 part puzzle game, and it's gonna be like a visual novel game too, and you're gonna have like a day and night system, and it's like you're shooting a bunch of like what sound like good individual ideas, but you don't have the capability nor the mindset to execute any of these ideas appropriately. Again, is Lightwave supposed to be like a jokey kind of like let's all get together and have fun event? Is it supposed to be an event where, again, we have serious, deep discussions about our society and how how mushrooms can change that? Or is it just like just one big shit post? I'm leaning more towards one big shit post.
oh, this is going to change everything. It's just like, okay, here's a new idea. Let's try it out. And here's, we want to have fun too. It's not just about serious debates or like thought-provoking intellectuals or whatever. It's just, it's artists,
I will say
art
this,
installations. That's what we had, art installations.
I will say this though, you're saying that it was a joke about Boogie and stuff, but a lot of people see that as like false advertising. And you were saying that you made your trailer like, sort of like just random for like
Do you think
the
we're going
intrigue
to airlift
factor.
Boogie to the event? Do you think we're going to airlift Boogie to the event so you could fire off warning
The
shots?
airlift thing sounds like a joke, but like the Boogie being there actually, like that comes off across as serious, especially when you announce other guests that weren't.
You see, I feel like if Glink knew about the shaman and the mushrooms, Boogie definitely would have been at the event. Again, okay, Glink, Boogie, hit me up. Okay, we'll get something down. We'll make the mushroom podcast. Okay, it's gonna be great. You're gonna make millions of dollars. Boogie, you're gonna make way more money than you ever did on Lolcow with the mushroom podcast. Hit me up, Boogie. I'll produce it for you. It's gonna be great. I'll keep all the revenue and I'll like give you guys like 5% each, but you'll make millions. Trust me.
Weren't jokes, right? So what's the difference?
I mean, I thought me frantically yelling in an open warehouse that Boogie 2988 is going to be there repeatedly to myself like an insane person while showing a low resolution JPEG of him saying featuring Boogie 2988 with a delay.
You see this, like this is the other thing too is you. It seems like if we're gonna take his word that the trailer was one big joke. Only you understood the joke, like. Only you understood the joke. No one else got the joke. It was only for you. Which, I mean, hey, the point of this show is not necessarily to make other people laugh, it's to make myself laugh, right? But I don't know, when it's also the trailer for your big upcoming event that's supposed to compete with VidCon, maybe advertise it more for other people.
That also kind of insulting
given away that it was
serious artists too, like the serious people you brought. Like, okay, so
who was serious?
Well, Lewis, isn't he supposed to be the serious one? Like, he's talking about serious.
I didn't even know. Well, I put Lewis in as a joke because I didn't even know if he was coming or not.
Excuse-moi? You plan this event? Like, what the fuck were you supposed to do then? If like legitimately no one showed up, right? And it's just you and like the fucking like people you hired for security, and then like that one DJ that we saw from Nick's video. Like, what the fuck were you supposed to do then? right? Would you still tout it as a quote unquote success? Like this was what I remember being so frustrating about this whole thing was like, no matter what your criticism was, Glink was just like, well, you see, like it was actually supposed to be this thing. So in reality, it worked.
I had reached out to him at the time, or I thought I'd reached out to him. Maybe I got the wrong email or something. But when I did reach out to him with the trailer mentioned, basically saying, hey, like, you know, sorry if that was abrupt, but I actually am interested. In having you at the event. I'm willing to cover your booking fees, your travel fees, and he was interested. So we made that work. So that's, you know, in a way, like what I'm saying is that the trailer served the purpose that it needed to, which was to not only get people talking about the event, which it did, but also...
Hey, but was this supposed to be an event? Because the way that this is managed makes it sound like this is a drinking party that went a little Project X.
No, it was a 2-day event from the start. Right. The concept was to have a forum and a party day, which day 2 was, and it was pretty epic. It was legendary. I have the exclusive footage. That was like Project X. Project Z
day 2 supposed to be streamed?
No, it was never meant to be streamed. I have all the footage though, exclusively on Glink on YouTube. The documentary's coming out. I'm editing it right now. It's going to be something like the Sam Hyde iDubbbz documentary, only it's a bit more personal, obviously, but there will be some familiar faces, and it'll be pretty interesting.
There's a whole narrative running around that, you know, you become like obsessed or addicted with like shrooms or psychedelics of some sort, right? What do you think about that? Like, what do you have to say about that?
What do I have to say about people accusing people who don't know me?
Are you nuts? Are you a nut job?
Well, you mentioned before, like you're doing a joke to come across as nuts in the trailer. That is one thing I think is interesting, right? Because a lot of people who watched that did actually walk away thinking that you were nuts, but not because like you were joking.
The entire comment section. Yeah.
You know, that is the thing about me. You get a little sugar in me, and I start to go cuckoo. I get a little wacky. A little wacky.
See, guys, he's a goofster. He's just a goofball. That's what Glink is, guys. He's just a goofball who also wants to have serious discussions about porn addiction and mushrooms.
Dude, you made like 4 Sam Hyde references in this one call.
No, it's more so his humor that I jive with in that sense, where it's like he's leaning into the cringe. I like that. I like leaning into the cringe. But that, to your point, I'm not like a druggie or I'm not insane. I'm ambitious. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an artist myself. I'm a very like emotional driven artist, but I try to be rational and logical when it comes to business and areas of life where I think you have to be serious.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, you just said that, but then you also like pitched an event where you didn't even contact the people in advance. You just like...
I did contact the people in advance. I contacted everyone that was confirmed. So, and then...
You just told us 5 minutes ago that you didn't even know that you contacted Lewis. You're like, I guess I must have hit you up. And then you put him in the event trailer.
Yeah, he was in the event trailer with a low-quality JPEG image with a question mark on the text.
So you didn't know. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was like
what kind of way is that to fucking run an event? Like, I don't know, they're showing up, they might show up, come anyway.
And Louis Rossman? Maybe. Why not? Like, that's basically what it means.
You didn't even contact Boogie either.
No, I didn't contact Boogie because that was the flat out.
Why'd you put him in the event? So, okay, but like, see, you're like, I want to be serious in business. If I operated a business like that, I'd be laughed out of the fucking room. Rightfully so, you know? Like, you can't do that. Come on.
Why can't I do that?
Because no one's gonna fucking take you seriously. If you want to be taken seriously in a fucking philosophical bullshit discussion, right? No one's gonna fucking take you seriously at that point, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Completely unprofessional. That's why this is cringe.
The whole
How can it be performance art?
Not be professional because being professional is cringe and
then
lame.
Why the fuck are you talking about right to repair and monarchism and all that shit? What?
Because I'm talking about an event. I think events shouldn't be corporate and lame.
I guess
He's-
a
right to
question I
repair
have-
is to do with the legal system.
Well, is it corporate and lame to like contact your guests before you announce them? Is that
so okay?
really
Would you like me
lame?
to explain? Would you like me to explain
yeah,
that? I
sure.
can break it.
That's the whole fucking point of you being on here is for you to explain whatever bullshit was going on in your fucking head at the time.
Down for you.
Jesus.
Okay, so before I put out the trailer, I had confirmed with Destiny, with Ariel Pink.
Wait, hold on. If the event isn't corporate, I just got to ask you this. Why was there VC funding? Isn't that corporate?
Well, there. If you want
Well,
to
you
get
see, like it's a type of corporate I support actually, so it's like not bad.
into the financials of it, which is sort of like a pretty big leap from what we're talking about right now.
No, because you just said this
can.
isn't supposed to be a corporate event, yet corporate people are astroturfing and financing it. Wait, what?
I wouldn't say
Hold on.
astroturfing. I would say it was partially funded by a VC that disassociated themselves from it and were not officially a part of the event in any capacity and actually benefited pretty much nothing from it.
So then
Then why do they fund you? No one funds anything without expecting some kickback from it. Oh god, now that like I'm curious about that. Like, so they funded your event without expecting anything in return. That sounds kind of fishy. I don't know if you duped them or if they duped you, but like I don't know, something's off.
a corporate structure that's financing this non-corporate event.
No, what I'm talking about is the event itself is not, there was no
Right.
ticket fee, there was no guest list. Anyone could walk in, anyone could tune into the stream. The whole thing was put on. There was no badges, there was no, we weren't sponsored by somebody to promote an app or a website. None of that was part of this. But now, if you want to talk about where the funding came from, a lot of which was my own pocket, we can. But that's what I mean by it's not a corporate structured event. Whereas, VidCon.
Okay, so then why would the company give you money? Why would a corporate company give you the money to run this party or event? What was like the incentive for them? Was it just like, hey,
originally, one of a representative from them was going to be on one of the panels, but they decided against doing it. They weren't interested anymore.
They saw no one was coming to this. Like, you know what? You keep the money, we're backing out. And that's probably what they were thinking.
But I ended up keeping the funding and making the most of it. That's the long and the short of it.
But do you understand how any like corporate like sponsor in any capacity takes away from the original ethos of what you were trying to tell us like 5 minutes ago?
No, because I didn't say the original ethos is not to have somebody invest in your idea.
No, but you just said this wasn't supposed to be corporate. This is like,
Yeah, and I just explained to you all the ways that wasn't corporate. There was no.
But it was corporate because you just got money from the VC. Just because I don't. Oh, here's a counterpoint. Okay, let's say that I put $100,000 of my own funding into running an event. Right, I didn't charge anybody any tickets, but the event was clearly designed by me to push some sort of agenda, or I was trying to get some of my own panelists in there. At that point, you got a corporate structure giving you money. Even if you don't charge for tickets, it doesn't make the event non-corporate.
Okay, well then let me clarify what I mean by corporate.
like it's very clear within with this debate here. Well, don't worry, we're gonna watch more. Is Glink has this idea, this structure of how he wants to do things. He isn't fully capable of doing that, whether it be the drugs, his lack of experience when it comes to hosting events. It becomes a train wreck pretty easily. And with the fact that he wasn't able to fully explain himself here, it just makes him look more and more moronic.
I don't mean corporate as the only adjective to describe the event, by the way. In fact, the main point was that it's about bringing people together from communities that are normally separate to express ideas freely. But on the corporate point you bring up, what I mean by corporate is like, it's not an event that's looking to promote a product or a website or an app or collect data or charge people for tickets, nor is it an event that's sponsored entirely by one of those things. So it was not sponsored. It was just Lightwave is an LLC I have. It's a company I have because to host something like this for tax purposes and all that, you should probably have a company rather than paying for it literally under your own bank account. But that's a more
Is it? Let me ask you this.
financial.
People are speculating that you paid like an extra like 10 grand for security for Destiny specifically, or I forget where exactly it came from, but I remember seeing that. Was that the case?
I paid an extra $4 grand for security, and
Dude, that was the easiest paycheck of that security company's life. It was just, oh, you want to pay us to be security at an event no one's going to? Yeah, we'll take that. We'll take that for sure.
that was at
For Destiny or just for the event in general?
for the panelists at the event. Really, it was for the event in general, because that's what the security did. They were just hanging around the event in general. And honestly, it was definitely over. It was not necessary. You know, it was an over precaution. And I did that in part because a lot of people around me were encouraging me to do that, and I was like, okay, you know, well, sure. Like I just was kind of working with the people around me. So we went with it. But, you know, to dispel a couple things, like I was saying before, for who we had confirmed, we had Destiny, Ariel Pink. At one point we had Rusty Cage, but he had to back out soon after he confirmed his booking. So that was something. That's why he was cut from the trailer. At one point we had Little Apostate, who's like this Twitter she's like a journalist, and she's on Twitter.
A Twitter journalist. Oh, that's some high class panelist right there. Fucking Twitter journalist. Christ.
But she had to pull out because her dog was sick. She called me, let me know, but she wasn't even
The dog got into her mushrooms.
in the trailer. We had Negative XP from pretty early on, but I didn't want to make that publicly known because he's got a history of
That's the artist, right? The guy who made Scott Pilgrim ruined a whole generation of women. His music's not too bad.
people showing up and causing trouble at his events. And I really didn't. I just kept him as a surprise guest, basically. The same thing with Curtis Yarvin.
Was he there at the event?
Yeah, he was on one of the panels. I mean, we have all the panels on the stream. I should probably clip those, and I probably will soon. But there was a total of 4 panels. One of them was Ariel Pink and Negative XP, and also this local DJ. It was a panel about artists of the digital renaissance. And Destiny was meant to be on the final panel with Curtis Yarvin, and I'd spoken with both of them. They both were interested. They were both down. Curtis was there. He showed up. Day of, I get a message from Destiny on Discord that, and keep in mind, I've been emailing him this whole time with his full itinerary, paying for everything, getting him a room, getting him the bookings. And he tells me that there's something personal that came up in New York, sends me like
Basically, he says, I ain't showing up to that shit. I ain't showing up to that motherfucking shit.
like a frowny face, and he's like, can't make it. I'm like, okay. And he's like, I'll be there tomorrow or something. I'm like, okay. So, you know, last minute, we just end up having Curtis Yarvin and Louis Rossman. Rossman got on actually because of the trailer. I emailed him after, and he was like, oh yeah, that's fine. You know, as long as you're willing to cover the flight, I might be interested anyway. So that ended
Even
up
the
working
other
out.
guests, Wang and Rusty, what about those guys?
Wang was never invited, and he was
So
never
the other
told. He was,
joke.
no, he was not a joke. He was
Then why did you put him in the trailer?
the visual that was brought up when I was talking about individuals creating great things on their own on the internet.
Okay.
I have a quick question, if you don't mind, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying this is like as a gotcha or anything, or to like embarrass you or whatever. But I noticed
Sure.
that the IRL turnout was noticeably low. Was that basically what you expected, or were you expecting sort of?
That's pretty nicely, Tom. The IRL showing was a bit low, aka no one showed up other than the panelists and some of the security guys.
Bigger turnout?
I didn't know what to expect. That's why we had the security. It was really hard to gauge because I intentionally kept the address out of all of the online promotion for this.
Yeah, yeah. For an event you want people to show up to, knowing the address is kind of an important deal, right? It's kind of an important thing. Now, question. This is the question, for the viewers at home. Which is a more which would you say was a more um fuck up? Was it Crater Clash 2 or was it Lightwave? Now that's I think that's an interesting question, right? Because people showed up to Crater Clash 2, but it was a dog shit event, right? Whereas like no one showed up to Lightwave, right? And it's still a dog shit event. See, these are the philosophical questions we ask here on Nerdy Live.
And that was always the case, right up until the actual day of the event as well. I never let the address leak because, again, I wanted to avoid. I felt like it was.
In all seriousness, I get wanting to avoid unnecessary stuff like potential swattings, bomb threats, trolls, but that's why you have the security. Is for that stuff. You let the local police department of the town that you're hosting in know about the situation, right? So that way that kind of stuff can be avoided. So that way, like, you can still have a turnout on your event, but still be prepared in case anything happens, right? Because, like, if you're going to spend, like, an extra $4,000 on security and then not show the address to your live event, then there's no point in having the security.
A delicate situation where I have somebody like Negative XP and Ariel Pink, who are both these highly controversial artists in their own right, Curtis Yarvin as well, and I was planning on Destiny being there. So it was sort of like this powder keg of...
Like, were these guys supposed to tell their audiences? Like, hypothetically, let's say all the YouTubers and artists that are shown in the trailer come to the event, right? Are they responsible for telling their audiences where the address is then? So that way people can show up, or you made it very for anyone who's starting an event or just starting anything. You want to make it simple for people to get into it, so that way you can get people through the door. You don't want to overcomplicate things, because if you overcomplicate a new thing for someone, they're just not going to use it or be a part of it. Like for example, right? Like, obviously, like, older people had a harder time using the newer technology when it came out. But like, imagine if like the first generation of like smartphones was super complicated to use. No one would purchase them, right? No one would purchase a smartphone. No one, and we wouldn't have Galaxy S24 or the iPhone 16. That type of stuff. If the product, or in this case the event, wasn't simplified, you can't make things difficult for your potential market or user base. Again, this is a clear-cut example of Glink not fully thinking things out. Again, I understand. This is something I actually can understand him on, is like, you're bringing controversial people into one room for a live debate or discussion, and you're worried about people like wanting to disrupt it in any way. I get it, but again, that's why you hire the security, so that way they can deal with that all that stuff. And you let the police know, so that way they can be up to date on like any fake swattings or any fake bomb threats that's happening, etc.
Somewhat controversial people who've actually had history of like being at events that were somewhat rowdy because of whether it's their political leanings or whatever expressions they've made online, different things, right?
And why'd you set up all the rows of chairs then? What was that all about?
Well, I'm getting to that. So on one hand, there's this...
I'm getting to that mood. Jesus Christ.
Powder keg of people who, might attract the wrong crowd if we make the event too public and let the address be known publicly. But on the other hand, we do want people to show up, and we do want to fill up this venue, which was quite large. So I was thinking of doing local advertising, so just getting people from the local area to show up, which we did, just not as many as I was hoping for. I don't think we put up enough flyers or made them as eye-catching as we should have. Should have just said open bar at 5 p.m. and put the address, and probably we would have filled up all the seats. But
True.
You know, what are you going to do? Because we did have the open bar at 5 p.m.
Right.
And Destiny did show up, by the way, at day 2 at the carnival, Lightwave Carnival. He did, yeah.
Oh, this thing had a carnival? Christ.
He did. I shook his hand. I don't know. Apparently he was talking,
So he showed up to Austin,
talking
Texas
about me, but
doesn't he live in Florida?
I don't know where he lives, but he showed up, yeah.
I believe
He lives in Miami.
Yeah, Miami.
We talked,
So he showed up to the event on the second day, the day that wasn't recorded, and also the day that he didn't have a panel in.
No, it was recorded, just on camera, not on stream.
But you said you
And I'm
showed up.
editing
Did
that
he
footage.
participate in any panel on the second day or something like?
There was no panel. Second day
There was
wasn't
no
a panel.
panel. It was just partying?
It was a party day.
It was a
Oh,
it was
okay.
a live. It was a live band performing.
Damn, don't you feel like he kind of screwed you over then? If he shows up for the party day, but not for the day where the
Yeah,
panels are
sure,
going
but I'm
on.
not calling him out. I mean, I don't care.
He clearly does care. He clearly does care. Especially if you make a video 2 years later talking about Muda.
Whatever, but don't think it looks bad on me though, because I was doing everything professionally, quote unquote, that I had to. I confirmed everything with him, and he won't tell you otherwise. I know he's honest enough to say that. Like, if you ask him, he'll tell you, yeah, like something just came up, he couldn't make it, and that's what I'm telling you now too.
Okay.
So it is what it is. It happens.
I'm
Life
not drama
happens. We
bidding.
make
I'm
it
just
work.
fucking asking.
No, I know, but the point is, like, with the trailer and with all of this is, to pull something like this off, you have to take some risks, and you can't necessarily overplan. I think that's true of any venture in life, is you have to have some flexibility, leave some room for being flexible and like changing things on the spot if need be, which is what we did with the last panel entirely, where it said Destiny was going to be there, and we instead had Rossman, Ben Woosley, and Curtis Yarvin on a panel together. But it worked, and there was an interesting conversation had, I think. I mean, the whole point is that it's not this highly structured event. To go back to that point about corporate structure and all that, is like, even the panels, which we had a timeline, we had a schedule, we had guests, we had topics, we had speakers, we had all that planned, yeah. But honestly, at future events, at future things like this, it'd be cool to just have like an open mic where people can respectfully like air out their conversations on a public basis somewhat. That would be interesting. That would be cool. I would listen to that, like a public podcast almost. I don't know.
Are you going to be doing a... Yeah, I was about to ask, are you going to do Lightwave 2 next year?
There will be subsequent events. My focus right now is to make this documentary and see how it translates. I think it's going to be an interesting story, but we'll see how I tell it, because I'm still not done with it. But after that, I'll kind of gauge where I'm at. But I'll tell you this: there is like a...
So yeah, I think we got a general idea on what exactly was going on in his head, right? So let's bring it back to the video he has on. I did not link it in the doc. Mistake. All right, let's go to Glink's channel. Okay, there we go. Glink's channel. And here we go. Lightwave story time. And it's 27 minutes long. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be fun. Again, guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe for more content such as this. But let's get into the story, shall we? Let's listen to Glink's perspective.
Mudahar got,
Oh, he's doing an intro.
What a nice
so cool.
day. Beautiful, sunny. The only thing that could make it better would be listening to some negative XP on the drive.
Talks about video games.
Man, I can't believe we brought him out to Austin. That was like a dream come true. I can't believe it's been 2 years since Lightwave. Good times.
No, it was not good times. It was not good times. I mean, it was good times for everyone else who was laughing at you, but
It's also been 2 years since that video.
the fake festival. Oh, you can tell how salty he is. You can tell. He's so salty.
I guess not everyone saw it that way. But you know, now that the dust has settled, maybe it's finally time.
It's finally time to strike back at Muda. Looking back at some gamers. This is a retrospective, man.
Hey everybody, how's it going? There are 3 major points I'm going to cover with this video. First, I'm going to go over Ordinary Gamer's video and show you how through his own
deconstruction of Ordinary Gamers
words and his own actions in his video, he's proven himself to be dishonest and uncredible despite claiming to be some sort of objective reporter. Secondly, I'm going to explain the true story behind Lightwave, or really just the bullet points of what it was, how it came to be, and what actually happened at the event. Third, and finally, towards the end of this video, I'm going to explain why all this matters now, about 2 years later, and what I've learned from this experience. Although it's 40 minutes long, there's not actually a whole lot of substance in Ordinary Gamer's video. But out of respect for you, the viewer, I've boiled down his video to only the most essential points.
AKA the guy. Let me sum up this video real quick. Is I'm salty. My YouTube friend didn't like my event and made fun of me, kinda, in his video. That's what it boils. That's what this boils down to essentially, is the fact that he's mad that Muda wasn't gung-ho about his event.
And pretty soon we're just gonna get through all of the claims and all of the questions he brought up. But before we even get to the content of the video itself, one of the most important things is actually the title and thumbnail. Now, couple that with this key...
The YouTube disaster you never heard of, and he says, the fake festival.
Statement that Ordinary Gamers makes about halfway through the video.
A few people in various Discord communities caught wind that I was going to be making a video, and more so a hit piece on this event. Now on a personal level, I consider that shit really offensive because I don't make hit pieces. I research and I make the most objective video and take that I can, and I leave all those judgments up to you, the viewer. Look, obviously there's a story to these videos, but I want these videos to be more of a repository of information.
In his own words, this video is not a hit piece, it's an objective...
but it was on my event and it's a hit piece. Ooh.
Sort of journalistic report, and that means that this title thumbnail, which says that this was a disaster and that it was
man. No one showed up. No one showed up to your shitty event. What do you?
The fake festival.
The guest that you tried actually booking, Destiny didn't bother showing up. You spent an extra $40K on security that was not needed. Dude, the live event footage like tells the story of itself. I get that it's hard for you to hear that, man. That you like what was essentially like your baby failed, but it did. Objectively speaking, it did. Like, and you know what? I'm glad. I'm super happy that you had a good time at your event. You know, be pretty sad if you didn't. But objectively speaking, it did fail.
The content of the video should substantiate that claim, given that it's not a hit piece. Well, I'm ready to have these things proven right by the video. Let's take a look.
Oh, defamation. Oh, God, we got another defamation thing. Let's go. Is Glink gonna sue some Ordinary Gamers? I would love it if that was the case. Please, Glink, try to sue Muda. I need to see that. I need more content.
Oh, did YouTube Autoplay bring you here? Well, before you run away, let me remind you of an amazing new shoe brand called Vessi, ladies and gentlemen. Vessi is a...
Well, at least he knows his audience. So the first 2 minutes are just...
How dare Moo to have an ad read in a video? How corporate of him. Ain't that right? By the way, guys, make sure you use gamer subs. I for legal purposes, I do not have a gamer sub sponsorship. Not yet. Hit me up, gamer subs. I'm just saying.
Just this Chinese shoe company advertisement.
A few weeks ago, I was in California having a good old Christian Minecraft server of a time with some close friends, and I was attending VidCon.
The next minute and a half of the video is Ordinary Gamers explaining that he was hanging out at VidCon getting sloshed with his friends.
Entire weekend, I was incredibly...
Is that you? Do I hear some slight judgment, some judgmental energy coming from you? I'm sorry that he didn't partake in the approved activity of having mushroom-filled orgies. I'm sorry he didn't partake in that activity with you. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what the whole thing stems from, is that Glink offered Muda and his wife to participate in a mushroom orgy and they didn't partake. That's the real reason why Glink is mad. Honestly, man, I get it. You know, you thought you were being a cool guy by offering them to join your mushroom orgy. They said no. I get it, man. That's a huge insult.
Sloshed to remember the entire thing. And as far as the convention went, I think I showed up for like 20 minutes because they had this Fall Guys stand and I absolutely had to be there right present to take a photo with it. And I guess today the question can be, can and should YouTubers run events?
Oh. I know my answer to this. No, they shouldn't. YouTubers are not event organizers.
So this question is posed about 3 minutes and 30 seconds into Ordinary Gamer's video.
Thank you for sharing us the timestamp. I'm sure that's very crucial to your point. You see, in frame 24 is when he starts asking this question. No one gives a fuck. Just talk about your fucking point, Jesus.
Should YouTubers run events? And this takes a very journalistic, very objective, open-ended tone to the video. So far it seems professional.
Is his thing going to be, well, you see, Muda claims this is objective, but here he is saying that my event is me poo-poo face. And so, therefore, not objective, therefore, rip bozo, I win. Is that going to be the point? Guys, did I just call the point? I feel like that's going to be the point. And if so, this is going to be a very painful 20 minutes. Very, very painful 20 minutes. But needless to say, let's continue onwards.
By now, I'm sure some of you have heard about the massive event known as Lightwave, a
festival held in Austin, Texas, run by the YouTuber Glink, most notably known for documentaries in the Super Smash community, criticism of OnlyFans, and...
Also, wait. 400... He was over 400k subscribers. Now he's at 386k. Did he lose a bunch of subscribers from this event, or did something else happen? Because like that's a pretty decent chunk of your subscriber count that just left. Oh God, he's doing I didn't pay attention to his analytics before this. Jesus, he's lost a huge chunk of viewership. Why? Okay, we have the Lightwave event, and then afterwards, Zoomers in virtual reality, throwing a party to find my purpose. 22k, dude. These are, especially if you're not doing like, if you're trying to take your time with content, and you're not just doing like daily commentary slosh, like you can be like a 300 I'm not this big, I'm not open to those analytics, right? But I'm assuming theoretically, right, if you're like a daily commentary channel and you have like 350,000 subscribers, right, and you know you're not getting the best viewership, but like you can maintain something like 60K, 33K. I mean, this one video has over 100K, which, I mean, that's good for him. But like, if you're someone who's like an auteur, right? You're an auteur, and you try to take your time with videos. Influencers are the modern day cult leaders. Oh, I remember wanting to cover this video, but I ended up not doing that. But yeah, like, and okay, this is me not seriously not trying to like add fuel to the fire, but like, something had to have happened here. Like, other than Lightwave, something had to have happened here where he just like lost a shit ton of subscribers, and it couldn't have been because like the right leaning stuff, because like he's pretty open about that in his content. So I don't know, maybe I'll have to like look into this further when it comes to that sort of stuff. But like, what happened to him is my question. I mean, if I could somehow interview him, I would love to ask the reason why all this went down. Cause like, I mean, it's not like the biggest drop off, right? Cause like he still has like a decent chunk of subscribers, but like still to be at 2 years ago being around 400K subscribers, right? And then losing all of that. Well, not all of it, but like a decent chunk. Like, something else had to happen other than just like the Lightwave stuff.
And discovering of homeless people who live in Skid Row. And believe it or not, to grace the influencer scene. Just
watching the trailer itself is a complete fever dream. It starts with quick cuts and establishes itself as a convergence of artists and engineers.
The trailer is...
But, and also too, like, the trailer is made up of stuff from like other events. Like, there's nothing there to showcase Lightwave itself. It's just Glink in a warehouse yelling, and then like he shows clips of like other of other events and other performers that didn't show up.
Is indeed a fever dream, and that was the intention. I wanted it.
You see, I actually did like a 300 IQ move by making the trailer that way.
To be kind of crazy. I wanted it to be unpredictable, and
I get you want your trailer to be eye-catching, but like, I don't know, maybe you should have like talked to someone who like has like some kind of marketing background with your trailer, because it's great that you see it as a success, but no one else did.
A little bit ambiguous, and most of the footage from the trailer is stuff I filmed myself, so it's not like I was completely making these things up. These were different events that I'd gone to, that I based the planning of.
But that's not what Lightwave was. It's great that you have footage of like other events that you went to, but that, I don't know, like it might not technically be false advertisement, but when you show stuff in the trailer that's not gonna be in Lightwave or what Lightwave will be, it feels like false advertisement, you know?
Lightwave. Did it backfire? In some ways a little bit, but in other ways
I would say in every way it backfired.
Was successful, and I'll be explaining that.
And again, it wasn't success. It's Glink. It's great that you had a good time at your event and everything, right? You didn't have to worry about the mean people showing up and ruin everything. But dude, I feel like he's kind of living in a delusional. He's living in some sort of la la land that just does not exist, where Lightwave was this massive success and everyone loved it. No one did. Other than like, I guess you can say like the hardcore fans that watched your live stream, but like none of your hardcore fans showed up to the event.
As we get to more of the
partly because you made it difficult to find the place where it was being held. I'm sure if he was more open about it with his community, maybe not necessarily broadcasting it straight away, but like does he have a Patreon? Did he have a Patreon? I mean, he has a Discord. Like maybe like with like people in your Discord server being like, hey, be prepared. We're going to do this event at such and such location. You know, get ready for that. I'm sure you would have had a few hardcore fans show up, but like, again, dude, it wasn't a success.
Content of the event.
Or do something basic like getting, your shared space where there are.
So then he's like talking about my business card and just some of the more marketing related to the event. And we're at this point almost 10 minutes in, and so far there's been no indication that the event is a disaster or fake.
Well, it's a 40-minute video. Muda is sort of like a slow burn with his content, right? Like, for example, like the completionist stuff. He didn't straight up right away, said everything was a complete charity fraud scam, right? No, he showed the evidence for it slowly, so that way you can fully understand and take in what he has to say. If Muda showed like all the stuff with Lightwave at once, it would have confused a lot of viewers, I feel.
It was told to the online audience, basically you and me watching right now, who weren't in Austin at all, that this event was to be streamed live on YouTube, Odyssey, Rokefin, right? That's where we were going to watch the event. So we were never, ever given a date whatsoever by Greg. And it was supposed to be meant that...
Okay, he misspoke here. I gave a date. I didn't give an address. And that's something I could talk about more at length later, but the short, I was a little bit concerned with guests like Destiny and Negative XP, who I had heard had this kind of political controversy.
Well, at that point, if you're worried about people showing up to cause a disturbance at your live event, you might as well hold it virtually at that point. I'm sorry, but like the whole thing about a live event is that you're hosting it so that way fans can interact with you, so that way fans can like maybe ask questions during a panel, or like see the discussion unfold in front of them. If you're not going to share the address, if you're not going to let people come to your live event unless they're local in that area, who, let's be honest, other than like because like obviously he probably had like a few fans in like the Austin, Texas area, but like you're not going to get a huge turnout, because I bet you a lot of the local people were probably like really confused on what the hell the event was even supposed to be.
And some disruptors at previous events. And remember, this was right shortly after restrictions from COVID were lifted, and the political tensions were still somewhat high. And I was just, I don't know, maybe paranoid, maybe just overly concerned, but I really wanted to limit the amount of random people that would find out about this and show up from an online audience. Maybe that's my bad. Maybe I should have trusted my audience more. I should have been more transparent, but it wasn't disrupted, but maybe after the fact it was defamed.
The date that Greg picked to run this live stream ended up being the weekend of VidCon, right? The weekend where most of the social media personalities, if they had to go out to a convention from all over the world, were going to be in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and keep in mind, a lot of the people who are not in like the Los Angeles area, right? Usually they book their stuff like months in advance. So you're not going to get a whole lot of people showing up, because you would have had to have let them known prior to them even booking stuff for the VidCon trip that, hey, I'm going to be doing this event. And it seems like, maybe I'm wrong on this, but it didn't seem like you were planning this very well ahead of time.
Angeles, California.
So I guess every social media influencer and every creator online is going to be in Los Angeles, California for VidCon. If they make videos, if they're an actor, if they have any influence at all, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to be in Anaheim, California for VidCon.
Okay, obviously not every single creator, but the people that you were showing off in your trailer are going to be at VidCon, dude. And I'm sorry, but more people showed up to the VidCon parties than to your event, so I don't know what that says, man.
Woo! VidCon 2025, let's go! VidCon 2026, let's go! Nobody gives a fuck about VidCon. Every time he mentions VidCon, it's a complete red herring. It has nothing to do. But
it does, though, because people were... Okay, we've known this for years. The YouTubers don't go to VidCon for VidCon itself. They go for the party, so that way they can smoke weed and get drunk with their online friends, IRL. But there's still a process of them, like, again, booking flights, renting hotels, Airbnbs, whatever they have to do, right? And you're not giving them, again, Glink, you weren't giving them heads up that you were doing this event. You were just kind of winging it. And so, yeah. The people you mentioned in your trailer, like Wang, Boogie, I don't think Boogie at that point had money for the event. He was spending too much on hookers. But still, like, you make this big deal that no one actually shows up to VidCon, but like no one showed up to your stuff, man.
With other events, okay? It's VidCon, man.
I ended up coming back home to my house just to watch this thing on the big screen. Now at this point, all of our friends were just sitting on the couch watching this whole thing, and I realized that I was personally in the wrong place.
Okay, so hold up. Ordinary Gamers is in his house with his friends, and on the big screen,
his wife, yeah,
they have Lightwave that I streamed from my channel. So they not only were they aware of this event, they were prepared, they were glued to the TV.
What Glink doesn't understand, like this was literally, hang on, but like, bro, okay, it's unfortunately, like, I don't think I can go that far back in Jen's, like, or her Twitter history, but like, I think this is literally just like a shit post. This is just a shit post she made for her Twitter account. Muda's wife just made this video for a lulz, dude, and you're trying to deep analyze this. What the fuck? What the fuck is wrong with you, motherfucker? He's like, see, they claim they didn't know about my event, but here they are watching it. It's like, yeah, as a joke.
TV screen watching it. Okay, well, that's sounds like he's pretty dedicated. Sounds like,
ooh, you got him, Glink. You got him. You got him, boy. Glink W, guys. Glink W in chat. Can we get one? Can we get ones in the chat for Glink? He got the massive W, victory royale on Muda.
It's like he's pretty invested.
I should have dragged my engineer ass all the way to Austin, Texas to attend the meeting of the minds. This is a fucking tragedy.
Well, because Ordinary Gamers made up his mind in the first panel that the event is a tragedy, he's now going to convince his viewers for the next 40 minutes.
Oh my god, he said a joke? He said a joke? Muda, you're not allowed to make jokes. Muda, how dare you make a joke about Lightwave? You know what? I bet you this took him 2 years to do, because he had to take 2 years to like think of comebacks for Muda's stuff. Jesus Christ.
That it is a tragedy. Let's see how he does.
A missed opportunity, and so I just resorted to watching the YouTube live stream. And after about wasting an hour with my friends, thankfully we all made brief appearances in the 8-hour affair. Thanks again to Prox, by the way.
Okay, so wait. This video really took a turn though, because we started off with, should YouTubers run events? And now it's at the camera of my...
Glink, you have no right. You are in no position to talk about something being disjointed. Nah, Nah, my man, you can't complain about something being disjointed when like, yeah, it's supposed to be confusing. Like that's just how it is, man. What if Muda just pour that Uno reverse and just like, yo, actually, man, it was like, it's actually like supposed to be like that, man. It's like, so that way, like, you can have a deeper meaning behind it, man. Like, think about it. Muda, Muda, I know you're a longtime viewer of Nerdy Live. Please make a response video to this. I need to see this.
Event that streaming the event is being obscured by a phone that shows Ordinary Gamers and his friend at VidCon, and that's.
Thank you for putting us up there.
In the video where he's claiming that the event was a tragedy. Like, maybe he wanted it to be a tragedy. That's what I'm getting from.
Oh, Glink's like, you were preying on my downfall, man. That's what you do. You were preying on my downfall. Let's see. Is he trying to insinuate here that whoever the fuck this is who showed the picture of like Muda and his friend at VidCon, was this like an op? Was this all planned out to ruin Glink's event? So is that what he's trying to say here?
From this.
Of Lightwave, it consisted of 4 panels. Right to Repair with guest Louis Rossmann, who actually did show up, did a speech, and overall had an actual interesting panel. Louis is a great content.
Now, this is where things get really weird, because I've learned through this video that to some YouTubers, there's a feature where they can actually go back, edit videos, and add parts to published videos. I mean, everyone can trim parts away, but some YouTubers can actually add edited parts to their video, and this is one of them. Because in the original video, Ordinary Gamers got something wrong about Louis Rossmann being paid $1 million by a tech investor to come to the event. Let me just clarify my extent of being involved with this tech investor and Louis Rossmann. It's pretty simple.
Hang on. I think I reacted to this video back in the day. Be too far back now, I think, to talk about it. But first off, I don't even think you had $1 million for the event. I think you had a chewed up piece of gum and a ham sandwich for the event. So why did Muda say, if I'm taking you at your word, why did Muda say that he got paid $1 million?
I didn't have an open source tech idea, but I had an idea to host an event and bring creators, because there's a lack of interesting and organic places to hang out and collaborate with other creators.
It just sounds like, also too, this just sounds like you want to do a podcast. Like, just have a podcast, like the Joe Rogan Experience, right? Where you just bring on a bunch of like philosophical potheads. Because like clearly you're not interested in an actual live event. Because if you were interested in an actual live event, you would have actual audience members at your live event. You clearly just want to have a podcast where you can live stream and have discussions with philosophers. Which, I mean, if you want to do that, do that. I think this just was horribly mismanaged.
And this tech investor, out of respect, he probably doesn't want his name brought up, but he was into the idea. He gave me $25,000 as a blank check to host this event. And then after the trailer and some of the confusing responses to the trailer, his company decided to just pull out and disassociate from the event. But
so are you blaming people now for not getting your event because they decided to pull out? Because I'm sorry, dude, but like, if you have money backing your event, you probably should make a more coherent message with your stuff.
But I still had the budget to work with. Louis Rossmann left a comment on the video trailer, and he sounded a little bit confused himself. So I reached out to him via email, and I let him know that.
You see, like, this is like your whole point earlier was like, yeah, it was supposed to be confusing, but like you're confusing the people that are being associated with Lightwave. Don't you think that's a misstep? Because like if you have to send messages and emails to the people that are associating with the Lightwave event, if you have to clarify stuff to them, is that even a win? Like, is that a successful live event if you have to constantly clarify with people about the intentions and the format of your event? Greetings, Mr. Rosman. I included you in the trailer with a big question mark and a low-quality PNG image as a goof, but I would be honored if you attend this event, and I'm hosting in Austin, Texas, next weekend called Lightwave. What is Lightwave? It is far too common for big influencers to sell out to corporate-friendly politics and content, while the individuals making interesting content are segmented into their own corners of the internet where they grow a niche audience of followers that have little to no intentions with other bubbles of community. Lightwave brings together artists and engineers, local and distant, to one meeting point where people that envisioned a future of autonomy, free expression, and meaningful connections can gather. Okay. Maybe you should have, before making the trailer, maybe you should have sent this out to him before then, like Destiny. What was the name? Kurtzman, whatever. But this is the email you sent out to people to see if they can sign on, right? You don't just release the trailer and have them all confused and then you explain it to them. Again, this is why people view Lightwave as a failure. I mean, I guess it's good that you don't, but again, other people really do.
That I had every intention of bringing him out to do some panels and to take care of his flight and accommodations. And he was down. So he ended up coming to the event. He ended up having a good time. And eventually he ended up moving his business from New York to Austin. And he did meet the investor while in Austin. So there was no involvement, no talk of $1 million being exchanged anywhere along that. Even if Rossman, took $1 million from this investor, that's not selling out. That's just a business deal. That's just moving your business.
Yeah, man, that's not selling out. That's just a business deal. Oh, but like it's selling out to do like the Raycon ad, but I digress.
From New York to somewhere new, to Texas, which is where it still operates today. So yeah, that was how Lightwave got started, and that's how I contacted Rossman, and pretty much all the other panelists were the same way.
Content can go anywhere else. YouTube can kick you off at any moment. Obviously, that's the deal you make when you actually create an account here. Unless you know how to learn and diversify your platforms and brand, you have no one to blame but yourself. Again, did you really need a whole panel to tell you that? Didn't think so.
Hey, don't like YouTube? Use another website.
Finally, the last panel was, are there any political solutions? Arguably, this was the most fucking boring panel of them all. People thought...
Well, you see, I thought all the panels were boring. But, I'm just a small-brained individual, who can't see the bigger picture. Outside some goofs. Like, again, if you find these subjects interesting, more power to you. But I think Glink... he overestimated how interested people would be about this, but I'm sorry, man. It's very how do I put this? Very cringe. All this is very cringe. Very cringe, lad. Very cringe.
Well, that's a shame, ordinary gamers, that you didn't like the panel, and I wish it could have been better for your tastes. But hey, elsewhere on YouTube, that exact same panel has 31K views.
But not on your own. But not on your channel. I mean, I guess it's fantastic that somewhere 31,000 people viewed that video, but like it didn't translate well for your event.
And
also too, like Eugenia, not Eugenia Cooney. What's that? The Colleen Ballinger's apology video. Probably has like 1 million, 2 million views. That doesn't mean everyone's like highly interested in her. Maybe something fucking happened here, right? And it's just boring. People make fun of it. Who knows?
Some of the comments sound positive. People are saying, absolutely, the crossover we didn't know we needed. I would never thought I would see Curtis Yarvin along with Louis Rossman. Wow, the world really is a lot smaller than you think. So some people are enjoying it. I'm sorry you didn't, but...
I mean, okay, that's great that people liked it. But like, again, this really didn't translate... This clearly didn't translate well for you. Because people weren't enjoying it in the moment. I vaguely remember the live chat. A lot of people were kind of making fun of this event as it was going on. Maybe again, it seems like you're more interested in just like, again, not necessarily having a live audience, but having these discussions. In which case, just do a fucking podcast. Just have a podcast. Invest in like a nice studio with some high quality 4K cameras. Live stream it if you want, but you don't have to worry about people coming in and disturbing your event. This is like. Again, it's great. It's great that the clip did well on another person's channel. But it's clear you're not marketing this. You're not marketing this the right way. You're not approaching this the right way. I reemphasize, just do a podcast, man. It's clearly what you want to do.
Disaster,
you're just like, instead of making a right turn, you're just making 3 lefts. That's what you're doing.
Fake festival, just more of your opinion.
Point that he could.
And according to Prox, it may have seemed like Destiny could have flipped on a stream and realized maybe it wasn't worth showing up, even though that apparently he was in fact in Austin for the day 1 of Lightwave stream.
Destiny was in Austin when this was going on, and he cut the cord. I think he might have seen...
Well, that's just a really shitty thing to do, and... it makes me lose a lot of respect for Destiny.
Between all these panels, there were various intermissions, numerous performances filmed at completely brain-dead angles, and many, and I mean many, shots of empty chairs.
That shot of empty chairs taken at the start of the event, and the brain-dead shot of musical performances, was by Prox, the same person who showed his phone.
This is all a sabotage on you. That's right, Glink. This is all purposely done to sabotage you. You finally hit it. You finally hit it, man. This is all a gay op. This is all a gay op done by some ordinary gamer so that he could take away your credibility from you. It was all planned out. I was there at the Cabal meetings when this happened, man. I know everything. We all sat around and we were like, yo, whose career do we ruin next? And everyone unanimously agreed it was you, Glink. Matt Pitt was Mac Pitt, he's the Cabal leader. So he made the final decision to ruin your live event. That's what happened. I can confirm this happened, totally for realsies.
And a picture of ordinary gamers. So,
this is all planned from the start. This just shows how pathetic this all was.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's just kind of sums it all up, doesn't it?
Roughly after I woke up hours later, after a night of bar hopping with the boys, I was excited to see day 2. Was it going to be streamed, only to realize it never ever happened. According to Greg, this was a recorded affair for a documentary he'll be releasing at some point in the near future.
I have all the footage from the day 2 thing.
Did he By the way, did he ever release that? I'm scrolling through the channel. I didn't see anything relating to that.
That wasn't streamed, but that's going to be in the.
When I don't stream something, it becomes more private, and just the people who are there actually physically can appreciate it, or if they don't appreciate it, they can let me know. But to have the online sort of peanut gallery.
But like the event was like it's a 2-day live event. That's how you advertised it. I mean, if you were just up front being like, hey, the day one with all the panels, that's going to be a live stream event. And then day two is going to be for like the people there. If you were more upfront about that, you know, more power to you. But the way Lightwave was advertised was it was going to be a 2-day live event. That's how it was marketed.
Every time. Yeah, it's not always very pleasant, and I want to bridge that gap so that people online and in real life can both enjoy and appreciate something, but it's not easy to do, and you know, this is one reason why.
You know, and I know, the story doesn't even come close to ending there. Because now it's time to burrow, twist the knife in, and see what Lightwave actually was about. Alright, actually what it could have been, what it seems to be about.
Wow, that's some... This is great objective reporting, ordinary gamers.
You see, this like he's hung up on like every single micro word that Muda says. Like, he's not delving into any of Muda's actual points. He's just like, actually, real objective reporting there, Muda. Actually.
Totally not a hit piece at all. I can't see why anyone would think this. How?
Of information. I'm not going to kick someone when they're absolutely down. And like I've mentioned, okay, if I haven't mentioned it already, it takes serious balls to run a convention like this, or a festival. Even if this wasn't a success in my barometer, at least it actually happened. Regardless of what anybody wants to say about Glink, the actual event happened, which means it's better than all the other YouTuber events that didn't, you know?
I think a statement like this...
He basically gave you a gold star for effort. That's the nicest thing he said in the video. A for effort there, buddy.
Is almost worse than a flat out lie, because it's so disingenuous and it disarms people who might have...
He basically said, look, son, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Normally had a critical eye and who might have been listening critically. You know, I had YouTuber friends and other personal friends start watching the video and be like, wow, he's really tearing into you here. And then they get to this point and they just message me like, oh, actually, it's not too bad. You know, he kind of gave you some props at the end, and you know, it's not bad. Great.
No, because then you can't paint it as like a totally like malicious evil thing. And so Muda saying, hey, you know, I mean, at least you tried it, you know. When Muda gives you a softball like that, you can't totally paint it as like an evil thing now. That's the issue. That's the issue you're having there, is you can't paint Muda as like this totally evil person now. Really sucks.
What value does that have when the takeaway most viewers have who don't know me, who don't care to hear out the nuanced details, is going to be that this is a fake event, fake, you know, disaster, all that stuff. It's just going to damage my reputation, defame me to the majority of viewers, while again, somewhat disarming and misdirecting people who might have given an actual critique towards ordinary gamers, but because he's throwing me some bones, you know, oh, it's okay, he's throwing you some bones. Yeah, just completely disingenuous.
Preface: for the privacy of the whistleblowers, I'm blurring out dates and names to prevent any trace of who leaked what, okay?
Okay, then Ordinary Gamers goes on this harebrained tangent about this birthday invitation that me and Kino Corner wrote up as a joke, basically sending out to some YouTuber friends we knew. So it really has nothing to do with Lightwave at all. For the rest of the video, Ordinary Gamers goes on to attack me personally as some sort of drug abuser, even though none of the references I've made about psychedelics have any relation to Lightwave.
Bullshit.
And the planning of it.
Greg's
I call
psychedelic
bullshit. I call bullshit there, motherfucker.
history has been building up in the last few months, where he's created such bangers like 10 Steps to Having a Good Trip, Ego Tripping at the River of Life. This is Your Brain on Psychedelics. Now, I want to stop here and say that I don't share the same beliefs of psychedelics or drugs in general. I try to keep that stuff to an absolute minimum. I like living my life lucid and not under the influence of anything at all.
Oh my, is he gonna play the clip where he's just like, yo, I was getting sloshed with the boys?
At this point in the night, I was doing shots with the...
Oh, what's that? What's that? You don't like mushrooms, but you get drunk? Hypocrite much? Now, obviously speaking, alcohol and mushrooms can affect you in some very negative ways if you do not manage them properly. That being said, I haven't seen any information that Mudahar is an alcoholic. At least I hope not. Maybe he is now. Who knows? But to say that, and there's another discussion you can have about the normalization of alcohol and the alienation of people who do drugs. But I mean, there is something very different from like getting together with friends that you haven't seen in a while, getting drunk, and then like not repeating that process. Whereas like someone else who like microdoses daily, I'm not saying to clarify, I'm not saying Glink does that necessarily, but there's an obvious difference between someone who like once in a while drinks and someone who more regularly consumes mushrooms to open up their third eye,
boys, and I was plastered so hard off my ass, so honestly I couldn't even begin to tell you anything past that. You gotta ask Prox or somebody who actually was at the convention. Look, it's a long stream, I'm not gonna be there for the whole few hours, okay?
Oh, here we go. It really happened. Last 9 minutes. Let's go.
The biggest blunder of the event, if you could even call it that, was just the lack of attendance in person, and I equate that to
it was the lack of live attendances. It was, you were a laughing stock for a little bit there, man. Like again, it's great you don't see it that way, but to everyone else who was watching that, it looked like a massive train wreck.
Me not managing the budget properly. If I were to go back, I would have probably used a good amount of the budget to advertise on Instagram, on social media, that we would be hosting this free event in town. Instead, I did kind of waste some time and energy making these posters, putting them around town, not really accomplishing much. So that was the one thing, like if more people showed up in person, which would not have been hard. We had an open bar. We had, it was free to attend. It was in a central location. It's just, I was one person managing the bookings, managing the planning, the branding, all this different stuff for the event. And I just wasn't at 100% capacity when it came to the actual advertising and getting people to show up in person. But, it's been 2 years, and there are many clips from Lightwave that have tens of thousands of views, like the one I mentioned of Rossman and Curtis Yarvin, but also clips from different panels of the artists of Negative XP, of Negative XP's performance. Many people in.
Well, yeah, that's a live concert event. Like, if you're a fan of Negative XP and you're searching out like clips of him at live events, especially if he doesn't do them often, yeah, that's gonna get views, But like the sad thing is, they're not at that point. People aren't there for Lightwave; they're there for Negative XP. Like the closest thing I can use to relate to this is the interview I have with Jay, the former editor of Review Tech USA. That clip, like that highlight clip, has 16K views. I'm proud of it. Being that, it was used in a video essay with hundreds of thousands of views, but people went to that clip for Jay, and some people stayed for me, but obviously the vast majority of people who watch that clip aren't unfortunately going to stick around, and like that's something you partly have to realize.
Enjoy these videos and got something out of it, and that to me is more meaningful than any amount of negative press or hit pieces coming.
And by the way, I want to clarify, if this is something Glink is passionate about, he should continue to pursue this. But then he also, I feel like he also shouldn't be getting this upset over people not understanding his events or his planning or his way of thinking, especially when you don't communicate them in the best way. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, you can't have like this super confusing, complicated way of marketing your event and like disjointed ways of communicating your ideas for it, and then expect everyone to understand what you're trying to get at.
Coming from big YouTube channels like Ordinary Gamers. The first mistake Ordinary Gamers made was calling me a YouTuber, was assuming I identify as...
Oh my god. You see, I don't identify as a YouTuber. I really don't. I'm more of like a philosopher. I'm more of an artist. I'm a thinker.
A YouTuber. I don't identify as a YouTuber, and I'm not a YouTuber because what do they do? What do YouTubers do? This is the end. This is the...
I mean, technically, technically, Muda's not a YouTuber either. Technically, because he's not doing that as like a full-time job. He just does it as a side hobby. So if we really want to go into like the whataboutisms, you know.
The peak YouTuber. It's sit at your chair, churn out videos that are going to get clicks, get views, get on people's autoplay, insert some advertisements, and just stuff as much content as you can down the tubes, and hope your viewers are ready to consume as much of it as possible. That's the life of a tuber. And that's not what my channel is. That's not what I'm about. That's not what Lightwave is about.
So I hope I've made it clear that from the start of his coverage of Lightwave, Ordinary Gamers never set out to make an objective report. He was biased. He was calling it a disaster, and nothing throughout his video really...
Slander. How dare he slander Lightwave?
Substantiates his...
I'm curious, why didn't you... I'm curious, why didn't you make a video response to Nick? Oh, because Nick would have been a lot harder to go at, I bet.
Claims that it was a fake festival or that it was a disaster, and he just presents a lot of speculation, frankly. So out of that, an interesting question arises. Why then did he feel the need to make this video?
Oh, oh, we're about to get into the best part of the video. Holy crap, let's go.
There's a lot I could speculate about, but just to give you the raw information, my history of interactions with Ordinary Gamers was mostly limited to a few messages on Discord and Twitter. And in October of 2021, some tubers got together and met in Anaheim right after COVID and all that. Ordinary Gamers over here, he was throwing a house party. As soon as I show up, it seems like people are drinking. I go to use the restroom, and there's a guy just passed out, sleeping next to the toilet. So,
dude, that sounds like a rager. Bro, what do I have to do to get invited to these some Ordinary Gamers parties? Yo, Muda, listen, man. I'll bring whatever alcohol the party needs. I just need VIP. So come on, man. I need to go to this animal. What's the name of that 80s like college comedy? Animal Farm? No. That's the Animal House. Yo, Muda, invite me to this. I beg you.
Wasn't kidding. He likes to get sloshed with his boys, and that's how they do it. And I didn't really talk to Mudahar much at the party. I just like maybe a couple sentences. There was no tension, no arguments. So honestly, it really doesn't explain why he would have felt the need to make this hit piece on me, but...
Are you saying he's not allowed to comment on stuff that's like going on on YouTube? Do you have to know someone in order to like make content on them? Because like I don't know Review Tech USA. I don't know Quantum TV. I don't know Boogie to go with like the last thing we covered, like the last stream. Like I don't really know Tommy that well. But these are things that go on the internet, and we see them publicly, right? And you are allowed to comment on them. Sorry, but your live event is a public thing. You publicly broadcasted it. People are allowed to talk about it. People are allowed to make fun of it, say whatever they want about it, obviously within reason. You know, they can't say it's like it's a place where they sacrifice babies. But like, still, you get what I'm trying to say. Like this whole, a lot of YouTubers have this whole, you have the audacity to make a video on me. It's like, yeah, all the stuff that I'm talking about that you did was public, or at least publicly revealed. I don't understand why you're surprised that people are talking about it, you know?
Maybe it's because he views me as competition and I look like a vaguely ethnic, brown guy. Maybe it's because he's Pakistani and I'm Armenian. He saw that I was taking some risks with my channel. He saw that some people were confused, and hey, he took that opportunity to muddy the waters a bit. Yeah, I mean, he probably just saw it as a quick opportunity to stab and twist the knife on someone.
Oh, see, wordplay. Oh, he's using Muda's words against him. Oh, he's so big braid for that.
In a weird spot. So I hope you got something out of it.
Why does it matter? That's what I'm wondering. That's what I've been wondering for the past. Oh God, how long have we been on the subject? More than the video length.
So
thank you, by the way, for making sure your microphone was right near your mouth when you drank whatever shit's in your coffee. Probably. Like, you're probably drinking, like, the dissolved, like, mushroom powder you used to get high.
Oh, why does all this matter now, 2 years later? Well, I know that some YouTubers make it their whole livelihood to report on the latest drama, the latest story, day in and day.
Heyo, shout out the boys, let's go.
Out all these scandals. But if we just forget about them as quickly as they appear and we learn nothing from all these scandals and stories, then what is the point? Is there a point? Does the truth matter? I believe it does. I believe there is a point to holding people accountable. And, if Mudahar's YouTuber friends aren't going to do it and they don't care, well, this is my version of accountability. And you know what? It's not just me sitting here talking to the mic. It's me sitting here spitting into the mic.
You're so funny.
Because now it's time to burrow, twist the knife in.
Y'all might want to dust.
Oh God. Okay. You know what? Let's go. Let's listen to this. Let's go.
Off your vessies.
Let's go.
This shit's about to get messy.
VidCon, Kid Con, walk around feeling like King Kong.
Oh, the humor.
TikTok, you want to bury and twist the knife, but you don't want smoke with Rossman, right?
A day of drinking, a night of getting sloshed. What an awesome night. That was your boy passed out in the bathroom, right?
This fire.
Bro was having a sleepover. Muda didn't get some of his facts right. Muda didn't get some of his facts right. He must have made that video during the hangover.
Get ready, ladies and gentlemen, for this repository of information coming to you live straight from the capital of masturbation, Mudahar's room. Yeah, he's come so far, but he sits upon a throne of lies and advertisements. Some ordinary gamer doesn't get any lamer. Drama chaser, you're a faker. Let's face the truth, your channel is nothing more than a clickbait maker.
Hey, Muda, you noticed you're getting a little older, but those kids from VidCon stay the same age. Wait, kids, watch out. There's this big hairy man named Mudahar. You can't ignore his smell. He's moving through the halls. Just run away, please. You don't want the smoke. You don't want the smoke.
He tried to insinuate Muda's a
Mudahar, you don't want the smoke.
What the fuck?
You don't want the smoke. You don't want the smoke. You don't want the smoke. Muda, you don't want the smoke.
Yo, Cheeto, I found someone who raps worse than you do.
Muda doesn't get his facts right. Muda doesn't get his story right. Muda doesn't know.
Poncho, I found your next collaborator. Let's go.
Holy shit, Muda just wants to talk. Muda doesn't get his facts right. Muda doesn't get his story right. Muda doesn't know his shit. Muda just wants to talk.
Someone tries to touch you in a place or in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable. That's no good. I was doing shots with the ball. Stay away from liquor, kids. Like all drugs, alcohol is dangerous.
The fuck?
I spent so much time thinking about how you wronged me. I built up my name to reclaim some fame, but in the end I became the same ego I wanted to blame. Mudahar, you are the part of me that I hate, but I no longer have room in my heart for hate. So I let it go, move on, find something new to create. Maybe I could learn to love my channel again. Maybe YouTube doesn't have to be this way forever. This channel is an outlet for my personal expression. I am me. YouTube is still worth uploading to. My channel is still worth posting to. My life is worth living.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay. Very weird Evangelion reference.
That was good.
Yo, they found White Muda.
Congratulations.
But yeah, that was... Oh my god, that was so lame. That was so lame. Anyway, guys, okay, this is Nerdy John signing out.